This week on Byron to Bordeaux, we bring out the big guns. Well, okay, just the staple and glue gun for some much needed repairs in the salon. Rest assured that I do in fact let Richard out of the attic every now and then for some free time. We take you with us on a wine tour. It's kind of lovely being a tourist in your own town. Welcome back to France. I have a little repair job to do today. We are currently in the salon, or you would call in Australia the lounge room. You can tell where I am because of the blue fabric walls. I'm not sure if this comes up on camera. It actually looks like wallpaper until you actually arrive here and see it in person. It's a beautiful blue colour. It turns out the window seals have eroded. So water was coming in through the window and dripping through onto here and coming and staining this fabric under here. So it was actually hitting the staples, which I've removed now, and the rust from the staples was staining all through to the fabric. I've removed that fabric now. It couldn't be used. I tried many stain removers and nothing was going to budge this stain. So I've decided to remove it and do a little bit of a repair job. You might notice the walls are framed with a wooden frame, and then they have this wadding, which gives a lovely feel and effect to the walls. So I was lucky enough to find another remnant of the same colour. As you probably notice just from a glance, this is a lot brighter than what's on the current wall because it's been on the walls since the 1970s. So what I'm going to do is put it on there, but since it's in a low spot, I don't think it's going to be noticeable. And honestly, after some years, it will fade, just like the one on the wall. So I think it'll look really nice. I also had to match the trim. Found some matching trim, which is just slightly smaller, but again, I don't think you'll notice in such a small area. So we're going to go for that. So what I'm going to do is probably pin the fabric on to make sure I've got it in the right spot. Then I'll staple it to the wall, to the actual wooden frame here, just as they did before. And then once that's done and I've got it in the right position, I'll actually hot glue gun the trim. And I think it'll come up really, really well. One of the most interesting things that we discovered in the house, was the original DV. I'll put this on screen, but it's the original DV for their fabric walls. It actually has all the colours that they provided. You can see what's highlighted here, which is ones they use, which is the green is in the dining room. The blue one over here, I think it's this one, is the actual one we've got in this room. And in our bedroom, it's this one over here. This one is the pink that's in our bedroom. And they all look absolutely stunning. I really want to keep and ensure that this fabric is kept clean and leave it on the walls as long as possible because I think it just looks amazing. And I'll show you the DV in a screenshot. But basically, if you can see, this is actually still in French francs. And that will give you an idea of how much it costs back. What's this dated? Dated in 1993. So that gives you an idea of how much it cost in 1993 to do the 3 rooms. 85,000 francs. Wow. It's really nice to have these. The previous owners left all these lovely little treasures for us to find. Anything to do with the house, the remnants of the fabric, little bits of fabric and wallpaper. It was so nice to leave that for us. It's been such a great discovery. So what I'm going to do is start putting the fabric on. I think I'll just pin it into place and then start stapling maybe from the top corners, and then I can start to put some tension on it and make sure it's actually got a nice taut fit. I hope you can see this. I've actually pinned it just at the first couple of things and tucked it in, so it'll be easy to put those first couple of staples in. And remember, this is going to have the trim over the top, so you won't see these little edges. So I'm just going to put a couple in. And also down the sideway. And I don't want it too tight, too taut at the start, so then I can move it along. It's really quite difficult to film. I'm going to do my best to show you. So all I'm doing is, as I bring it along, I'm just tucking it under the edge so you don't see any of the little unneat bits. Oh. And I'm placing the staples, say, every 5 centimetres. So I'm going to do a little bit down the side as well. So I'm sort of making sure it's taut on either side. So I'll put one here and then I'll do down the sideway. I already know that I've got quite a bit of fabric, plenty of fabric to cover this spot. Brilliant. Not the easiest positioning. Note to self, probably could have ironed this before I started. I'll learn that lesson next time. But it will come out, the wrinkles. It's looking nice and neat. What do we think? Looks pretty good. And with the trim, you won't see the staples. Right, the final stage. It's looking pretty good, isn't it? I'm really happy, really happy. There were some little bits that aren't perfect, but we're not going for perfect here. We're doing the best we can do. Okay, so I've got my glue gun all fired up, ready to go, nice and hot. Caution with the glue gun, which I've made mistakes before, do not put your fingers on the hot glue. It hurts. It actually causes blisters, so be careful using this little toy. Okay, so I'm going to just put the trim around. So glue on it first. Might be better if I do that. You want to just be very careful when you put this on. You don't put your finger on the hot glue. And the idea is just to, cover the staples. Cover all the messy bits so it looks finished. Now just take your time doing it, there's no rush. Just make sure your glue gun is hot and quite smooth to push on. And with the glue gun, you can always pop a little bit more on if it's not sticking properly. Doesn't that look pretty? Where are we, Richard?
At some chateau.
It's some chateau.
What is it? I don't know.
Pressac. Chateau
Pressac, which is about 15 minutes away from home. This is a easterly view, I think. We're going to do a wine tour.
Geez, you're really exciting this morning, aren't you, Richard? Like, we're going to do a really wine tour.
You didn't give me any.
That's the whole point.
Understand that I will be your guide today. So before to start the tours, I know that I speak English with a heavy French accent, and because I'm French, I talk very fast. So if you need that I slow down or do more attention about how I talk, tell me it and I will try to do attention if it's possible. But the thing is that I propose that we start the tours by the history of the castle and the history of the owners. After that, I will give you some explanation about the vineyard, and then we will be on the cellar to see the installation, the special winemaking process that we use, to after come back to have the tasting. Is that okay for you?
Right.
In 1999, my boss have decided to renovate entirely that place. And so as you can see, it just have put some concrete vats, because we have a lot of advantage with the concrete. First, the concrete is naturally fresh, so for the storage on the wine on it, it's really practical. Second things, the concrete is very cheap. So I think you can understand that it gives a lot of money to replant everything, and that's it. So you don't got a lot of money to do a cellar, so that was the advantage.
What is this, Richard?
It's either a mobile bottle cleaning truck or it's filling the wine up with the bottles. I'm using filling the bottles up with wine, sorry.
after.
More vegetable, like something's more about the herb, the mushroom, something's more about the vegetables in general, I want to say. Need to try it. And tell me after what you think.
You've had too much to drink, have you, Richard?
Yeah. I imagine you'd eat this with like a steak. Like it'd be quite a heavy.
I got this.
Oh, do you think?
With mobile wine truck and we can move everywhere.
So you ring him, so hey, I want you to get here.
Made a booking before to say you need to come for that day or that, and after that,
And he just obviously cleans the line, and away you go.
yeah, no, but that's so practical and we don't have any because the machine is very special.
Chateau was a wonderful winery. We also discovered that in 1453, this was the site of the surrender of the Battle of Castillon, which marked the end of the 100-Year War between the English and the French. How fascinating. Okay, ready to go. Got the handy staple gun, the manual type. I haven't upgraded to the automatic type yet. I've kind of just pinned it in place to give me a bit more of a push. Not right to the edge, but close enough. And I'm just gonna chuck some... God, what is wrong with me every time I'm filming?